What's up YouTube, Christo here, and I've got a video for you. A very, very long overdue second installment of Hypebuster. Pretty much this is to replace my SOS Sacco Shit series that I got quite famous for doing way back in the day. Pretty much what I'm going to do is talk about hyped fragrances either from the YouTube community or the online communities, and talk about why perhaps they're not quite as good as they are often portrayed to be. There's a few things I should definitely mention here. Not all these fragrances are terrible. In fact, quite a few of them I like quite a lot, but they're just certain things about them that perhaps don't really get mentioned or get overlooked when people, highly praise them. As well, I'm definitely not trying to attack anyone that became famous for hyping these or talking about these, especially in the YouTube community. There's plenty of things that I think very highly of that a lot of people really dislike as well. So certainly not trying to attack anyone who has made a name for loving or hyping or talking about these fragrances. As well, the range of these is everything from like $20 designers up to like $300 niche, and pretty much everything in between. It's a pretty interesting mix of fragrances, so I think it's fairly well represented, the hype that's existed in the past and present. So basically I've got a whole bunch of names here. Gonna pop them in my hat, mix it up a bit, and I'm gonna pull them out one by one and talk for a couple minutes. I don't know, we'll see how many I'll do, 4 or 5. It's been quite a while, so let's see. So first one, pull this out, open it up. Okay, this is a good one. This one takes me back, way back. This is YSL L'Homme, and this was probably, as far as I can remember, the first really hyped flanker. If memory serves, this was hyped up before Pure Malt was, and it was kind of like the first really interesting, dark, heavy sounding take on an already popular fragrance. And I should say, for the record, the original L'Homme that L'Homme is based off of, or connected to, I don't like at all, and in fact made my original Sacco Shit series. I think it's one of the most boring, uninteresting fragrances ever created. I don't know, I've had cups of mineral water that are more interesting than L'Homme. So when L'Homme started getting hyped, and it was really getting hyped, and this is back in the day when there were only like 10, maybe 15 reviewers, and a lot of them were talking about it. Couldn't get it where I live, and I was dying to try it just because, people were saying just how amazing it was, and, it was better than the original. L'Homme, you think of something dark and heavy and kind of alluring and sweet and spicy. So finally got to try it, and it was just another disappointment. Just kind of generic, spicy, sweet. Yeah, maybe a bit dark, maybe a bit nuit-ish, but just nothing. Boring. Didn't hold my interest whatsoever. Never bought a bottle, and have never had interest in buying one since I tried it, basically. Okay, next. Let's get one out. Let's see, what do we got here? Okay. This one, okay, kind of on the other end of the spectrum here. Something that's become very hyped very recently. MDCI Invasion Barbare. Now, if you want to talk about mislabeling a fragrance, that is a perfect example. When it first was, when it first kind of came into my realm where I was able to, pick up on it, where I, started hearing about it, I'm sure quite a while after it was released, but when it first became something that I was interested in, I just thought, wow, with a name like that, you know, Barbarian Invasion or Invasion of the Barbarians, you know, with the Roman bust on the top of the bottle, which I'm going to talk about in a second, those busts. It was like, wow, this is going to smell like, you know, being clubbed to death by, you know, some barbarian from a Germanic tribe or something. Like, wow, it's going to be amazing. Looked at the notes, was like, okay. Doesn't look like what I was expecting, but gotta try it. Finally got a sample, and yeah, I was so disappointed, completely and utterly disappointed. Well made, absolutely, very, very well made, very high quality ingredients, but just the most boring fragrance. Maybe number 2 to L'Homme, which, you know, like I just said, is about as interesting as a glass of water, but it's just, okay, first of all, I'm not really into fougères. I don't like lavender at all. In fact, it's probably my most hated note in perfume. And second of all, I don't really like vanilla, and this one is definitely a lot of lavender and a lot of vanilla. It's just not really a genre of perfume I'm into, and it's just not one that is interesting enough for me to want to buy. I think there's better that I've smelled, like kind of sweet vanilla fougères. I think there's better out there. I think there's cheaper. It's not for me. It's just a really uninteresting fragrance. It has a very misleading title. And the busts, gonna get some hate for this, because when there's threads on Facebook about what bottles have the most, what fragrances have the most beautiful bottles, most beautiful presentation, just almost within the first 2 or 3 comments, you'll see someone will mention MDCI, the resin busts. And to me, I don't like them. I think they're hideous and just so gaudy. I like very simple, very minimal bottles, just like simple lines, simple colors. The Chanel Les Exclusives, Serge Lutens, like the, actually the import and the export and the exclusive bottles, I quite like both of them. So to me, the MDCI bottles with the resin busts are just a big no-no. To me, they just look like something a poor family would save up for months and months and months, so they can keep the empty bottle on their coffee table or something. It'll be like, oh, company's coming around, let's put out their expensive bottle of perfume that we saved up for 3 months and finished, you know, 5 months ago. It just, I think it's really hideous and gaudy, to be honest. Sorry, but that's my taste. Okay, let's do another one here. Grab another one, and it is, okay, Bergamote 22. This one's interesting because it's never really gotten to kind of hugely hyped up proportions. It's kind of something that always pops up when you talk about, you know, great summer citrus fragrances. And I will definitely admit I'm starting to like Bergamote 22 more and more, but it's still just not what I was expecting when people talked about it. They mention it as like this kind of end-all fresh, sparkling summer citrus, you know, especially green, especially bergamot. And it's nice. I just don't think it's, again, it's not really worth the money. I think there's better from the Labo. I think there's better bergamot fragrances. It performs fairly well, I think. It smells nice. It is a kind of sparkling, slightly sweet, green citrus, but it's just not that interesting. And the first time I heard someone mention it smelled like Versace Eau Fraiche, I was like, they're crazy, they don't know what they're talking about. Sticking up for the Labo, who are, or were, I should say, one of my favorite niche fragrance houses. They're definitely slipping these days. I'm losing a lot of love for them, but that's a whole nother story. I got to retry Eau Fraiche. I had sold my bottle because I wasn't really into it, and I was like, wow, you know what? I have to admit, there is a noticeable difference. I can't say they're exactly the same, not even close, but there is, I think, something noticeable between the two, which is actually leading me to want to, you know, retry the Versace, you know, a little bit closer. I have a bottle of Bergamote 22 as well, I should mention. And I wear it. I've worn it several times in the last couple months, but just not what I was hoping for in terms of, you know, what people were saying about it. Okay, let's get another one here. This is... Ooh, this is a big one. This is a very, very loved fragrance in the community. Got to tiptoe carefully around this house and this fragrance. This is Guerlain Spiritueuse Double Vanille. And like I mentioned with Invasion Barbare, I'm not a big fan of vanilla. I really think it's a very average note for me. Even when it's done at a very high niche quality level like this, it still doesn't really do anything for me. And I'm going to totally admit here, I have only tried SDV once from a sample, but I did, you know, try to pay close attention to it because I knew I probably wouldn't be able to get my hands on another sample, let alone a bottle, and I haven't been able to. But I was just really underwhelmed. Again, it's a very literal interpretation of just kind of super, super, super sweet vanilla. And it's just, for so many reasons, just something I'm not into. Which, you know, kind of the reason I think Hypebusters is important, because not everything that gets hyped up is going to be your taste. It could be a fantastic fragrance, it could be really well made, very high quality, like SDV, but it's just not something for you. If you don't want super, super sweet, cloying vanilla, and just an overload of sweetness, you're probably not going to like SDV. I didn't really think it was that amazing, but if you like vanilla, yeah, you're probably going to love it. You're probably going to understand the hype for it. Okay, let's do one more just because it's been so long. Okay, let's grab one out here. Okay. I'm going to do this because I've wanted to talk about this fragrance for a really long time. This is YSL's Rive Gauche, and I know this is my second YSL, but maybe this is actually a very good time to bring up that I do believe that YSL is one of the most overrated designer houses ever. I have still not found an Yves Saint Laurent fragrance that I love. There's a few that I like. Body Kuros I like. The original Opium Pour Homme I like. You know what? I don't even mind the original Kuros. It's grown on me a bit, but none of them I would say I love. In fact, there's more that I dislike from YSL than I like. And Rive Gauche, wow, what a story with this one. I bought this while I was back in Canada about 3 years ago on summer holidays, and there were just so many people. It was really, really talked about, really heavily discussed in the earlier days of YouTube reviewers and my earlier days of the Facebook communities and stuff. Just nothing but love for it, and just not available. It wasn't available to try locally, so I didn't try it until I was back in Canada, and I blind bought it. I found it at Walmart for $19.99 Canadian dollars. And I had to buy it. YSL for that price, you can't find it like that where I live. So I thought, you know, even if I don't like it, and I probably won't because, you know, so many people love it, I can take it back and I can sell it very, very easily, maybe even for profit. I bought it and I tried it and I was appalled. I was just mortified by how disgusting it smelled. And it still stands to this day as the only fragrance I have had to wash off myself, as well as the only fragrance that has not just given me a headache, but a piercing headache that, you know, actually, like, kind of incapacitated me. I was, like, unable to function. It just hurt so much. It's got three of the three notes that I dislike more than anything else. It's got lavender, as I've already mentioned today. It's got anisey, and it's got cloves. Those are probably my top three most hated notes, and it's got them all. Should have known better. You know, I did fall for the hype a bit, but wow, disgusting, repulsive. To me, what does it smell like? It smells like a very, very cheap fragrance that you would buy at a drugstore or something for your grandfather's birthday. You know, like when you're 10 years old or 12 years old and you've saved up a bit of cash from cutting grass for the summer and you want to buy your grandpa something nice for his birthday. Your mom takes you to the drugstore. You go in, you've got like $5, $10, and you buy him a bottle of stinky old crappy grandpa cologne. That's exactly what this reminds me of. I even think it smells quite reminiscent of Brute, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst atrocities, human rights abuses in cologne or fragrance history. So yeah, I am a very, very big hater of Rive Gauche, and again, it's got such a cult following. People call it like the ultimate barbershop fragrance, the ultimate green fragrance. Saying green and barbershop makes it sound good to me, but I hate it. I absolutely, completely, and utterly hate Rive Gauche. It is one of the most offensive smelling fragrances ever, in my opinion. And gauche might even be a very good word to describe it. So there you go, a lot of hate. Venting my hate for some very loved fragrances here. So again, to recap, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bring anyone down for loving these, hyping these, whatever. We've all got different tastes, and this is mine. So what do you think? What do you think of those 5 there that I mentioned? Do you follow the hype with them? Do you dislike them? Are you kind of in the middle? Let us know. See you again soon, YouTube.